Hello everybody, and welcome back to a new episode. I know that many of y'all just like to listen to these stories, so I brought you one of the most craziest ones that you're about to witness right now. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, and let's start this terror. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery sheen upon the water. I sat alone on the creaky wooden dock, my fishing rod clutched tightly in my hands. The air was thick with anticipation, and the distant howl of a lone wolf echoed through the surrounding forest. I'd heard tales of this lake, Lake Ebonheart, they called it. Legends whispered of its murky depth, of creatures that slithered and writhed beneath the surface. But I was a skeptic, a man of science. I scoffed at such superstitions. The water rippled, and I felt a tug on my line. My heart leaped. Perhaps tonight would be the night I caught the elusive giant bass that had eluded me for weeks. I reeled in, my pulse quickening. But as the creature breached the surface, my joy turned to her. It was no bass. Its eyes were black pits, devoid of life, and its scales shimmered like obsidian. The thing opened its mouth, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. It hissed, a sound that chilled me to the bone. I stumbled backward, my fishing rod slipping from my grasp. The creature lunged, its slimy body wrapping around my ankle. I screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the night. The dock groaned under its weight as it dragged me towards the water. Desperation fueled my struggle. I reached for my pocket knife, slashing at the creature's coils, but it was relentless, its grip unyielding. The water lapped at my feet, and I knew that if I fell in, I would be lost forever. Then a voice, a haunting whisper that seemed to come from the depths themselves. "Join us," it murmured. "Join us in the cold embrace." I fought harder, adrenaline pumping through my veins. The creature's eyes bore into mine, and I glimpsed something ancient and malevolent. It hungered not for flesh, but for souls. With one final surge of strength, I wrenched free. I stumbled backward, falling into the water. The creature lunged, but I kicked, thrashed, and clawed my way to the surface, grasping for air. I swam toward the shore, ripples in its wake. The moonlight danced upon the water, mocking me. I never returned to Lake Ebonheart, but sometimes, when the wind howls through the trees, I hear that whisper, the same one that beckoned me to join the depth. I wonder how many others have succumbed to its call. Few minutes just passed, but the horror of that night would haunt me forever. I know that very well. The lake held secrets darker than any fisherman's tale, and I was lucky to escape with my life. My dear listener, heed my warning. If you ever find yourself near Lake Ebonheart, stay far away from its whispering depth, for there are things that hunger for more than just fish. They hunger for your very soul. So be careful, everyone, and never go to such a place. The old manor stood atop the hill, its crumbling facade a testament to a bygone era. Hollowbrook Manor, they called it, a place whispered about in hushed tones by the villagers. They said it was crushed, haunted by the spirits of those who had met tragic ends within its walls. I was a skeptic man, of course, a writer seeking inspiration for my next novel. Ghosts and ghouls were mere figments of imagination, I told myself. But when I stepped through the manor's grand entrance, a chill settled deep in my bones. The air smelled of dampness and decay. Cobwebs clung to the ornate chandeliers, and dust motes danced in the silvers of moonlight that filtered through the broken windows. I shivered, my footsteps echoing in the cavernous hallway. As I explored room after room, I felt eyes upon me, unseen eyes that followed my every move. The portraits lining the walls seemed to watch, their painted gazes unwavering. Who were these people? What secrets did they hold? In the library, I found an ancient journal. Its pages were yellowed. The ink faded. The author wrote of forbidden rituals, of summoning spirits from beyond the veil. My rational mind scoffed, but curiosity drove me forward, so I followed the journal's instructions. A circle of salt, a lit candle, whispered incantations, and then, in the flickering glow, she appeared. Lady Lesdora Hollowbrook, the manor's tragic mistress. Her gown was tattered, her eyes hollow. She spoke in a voice like wind through dead leaves. "You seek answers," she said, "but be aware, for the truth is a double-edged sword." I asked about the curse, about the restless souls that haunted the manor. Lady Lesdora's laughter sent shivers down my spine. "We are bound here," she said, "punishment for our sins." She revealed their stories. The jealous lover who poisoned her rival, the betrayed servant who took his own life, the child lost in the maze of edges. Their anguish permeated the walls, their sorrow etched into the very stones. "But why?" I pressed. "Why do you linger?" Her gaze bore into mine. To warn others, she whispered, "Be aware the desires of the heart, for they can lead to ruin." As dawn approached, Lady Lesdora faded, her form dissolving like mist. I stumbled out of the manor, my mind reeling. Had it been a dream, or had I truly communed with the dead? I never returned to Hollowbrook Manor, but their stories, haunted my nights. And sometimes, when the wind howls and the moon is full, I hear Lady Lesdora's warning, "Be aware the desires of the heart." Heed her words, for within the walls of Hollowbrook Manor, the past lingers, and the dead do not rest. Few minutes pass by, and I emerged from the cursed manor with a tale to tell. Whether you believe it or not, the spirits of Hollowbrook still whisper in the shadows, waiting for someone to listen. The sea was calm. The stars above me were twinkling like diamonds scattered across the velvet sky. I had set out alone, seeking the solace that only the open waters could provide. My boat, the siren's whisper, bopped gently on the waves as I cast my line into the abyss below. The hours passed, and the only catch were the whispers of the sea, murmuring secrets I couldn't quite understand. It was then that I felt a tug of my line unlike any before, a forceful, desperate pull that threatened to drag me overboard. I fought with all my might, reeling in what I believed to be the catch of a lifetime. But as the shape emerged from the depths, my heart sank. It wasn't a fish, nor any creature known to man. It was a figure, shrouded in seaweed, its eyes glowing with an unholy light. The figure spoke in a voice that was both melodic and terrifying. You have summoned me, and so I have come. Release me, and I shall grant you riches beyond your wildest dreams. I know then that I had not caught the figure. It had caught me. Its offer was tempting, but in its eyes, I saw the countless souls it had ensnared fishermen who had sought glory, only to find damnation. I refused. Cutting the line with a shaking hand, the figure wailed, a sound that turned the sea to ice, and it vanished beneath the waves. But the sea grew angry, trashing against my boat as if to punish me for my defiance. The siren's whisper was tossed about like a toy, and I clung to it for dear life. The storm raged, and I know that the figure had not lied. It had indeed come because I had summoned it with my desires, my greed. As dawn broke, the sea calmed, and I found myself adrift, the shores nowhere in sight. The siren's whisper was damaged, but afloat I had survived. But at what cost? I never spoke of that night, of the figure from the depths, or its chilling offer. But sometimes when the sea calls, I feel the pull of the abyss, and I fear that one day it might claim me yet. Few minutes just passed by, and the tale was told. A warning to those who seek the mysteries of the sea. Be wary of what you fish for you might not like what you reel in. And that's just a small little warning. And that's the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications bell. You're always stay tuned with more of our upcoming videos. Until then, see you again.